Okay guys, in this video I'm going to go over the progression so far of how we went about making our masks. We started out with our basic form like this, and then we went in and we paper mache'd, and you guys should have been working with the paper to modify it so that you have something like this. I added in horns. You're going to want to have everything three-dimensional and taped up really nicely so that it all looks like a 3D form and you don't have any spots missing. Like I said, you could form horns and different things like that with your tape, with your cardboard, with just by bunching up paper. And so you want to have a really nice general shape of what your mask is going to look like before you start this next step. So this is another mask that I had made, and you could tell that the features on here are very different than the features we started out with on this basic mask structure. What I'm going to teach you is how to go in with the celluclay and build up, and also how you could also go in and add in some bunched up paper, or actually just going ahead and dipping some shredded paper into the mache glue to go ahead and build up features as well. So I'm going to adjust this down, and hopefully it stays up for me today. Let's see, I had a little bit of trouble yesterday. Okay. And there we go. So I am gonna go in, and there's a few different things you could do. So if I wanted to extend a nose coming down through here, I could just take some paper and I could crumble it up and I could start to tape it down. So I could build up a shape going from here using just strictly paper and tape, nothing else. So if you want to go about it this way, you can absolutely do that. I think that it's good to kind of start out this way, and then you could go ahead and sculpt in nostrils and different things like that with the paper clay. But now what I'm doing is I'm building forward, and that's why I had you attach your pieces in two separate sections. So now that you have this middle section to work with nothing filled in, you could go ahead and build up exactly what you want to build up. So you could do this just by, like I said, crunching up straight newspaper. You want to make sure that you tape it down, and you can use the tape as a medium to really get the structure how you want it to look. So that's just kind of a basic shape I put in. I think I'm gonna go ahead and drag the nose all the way up to the horns here. And in order to do that, I'm gonna show you another technique you can use that will get you similar results. You could just simply take the paper mache paste and crumble up the paper, and this should just stick straight on. So just by taking little sheets of paper, putting them in the paste, and kind of bunching them together, it's going to create a similar effect. And this might be a little bit easier for some of you because you could actually push it in and you could mold it, and it's going to dry really nice, just like how it dried when we were working on the initial stage of our mask. So you could go ahead, you could bring this up, you can use this technique to sculpt eyes, to sculpt a mouth, to sculpt all different kinds of things like that. And you can even attach it over some of the parts that you taped down. You can use this same technique if you wanna, if you're making like a lion or something like that, and you can build up on the ears or on the exterior a little bit just by adding in more of the paper mache and kind of bunching it up, and you can get it to stick out and pop out a little bit more three-dimensional. So those are two different things you could do. And I would work on this for a while longer, but I just want to show you guys the three different techniques in this video so that you could get started. But you could already see that I'm starting to develop features more three-dimensionally. And I'm probably going to build up these horns pretty thick, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to do eyes and everything. The last thing you could go ahead and use is the celluclay, and I showed you guys how I mixed this up in class, so it's pretty much just the shredded paper mixed with paper mache paste. Now, I'm gonna go in on the bottom of my nose, and you could pretty much just start to compress it in. The one thing you're not gonna wanna do is just smooth it and cover your whole mask with it. You wanna use this more as a sculpting medium to begin to form features. So sometimes I think it's helpful, like how I created the nose with the paper underneath, and now I'm kind of building up upon that in order to make that a little three-dimensional, and you kind of change the shape. I think I'm going to make it a little bit slender through here, and then it'll kind of go out along the edges. So you could really change the shape with this a little bit more than you could with just the paper, or the paper mixed with the paper mâché glue. So I'm just gonna go in. Now it is gonna be hard to get smooth at first. I'm gonna supply you guys with some ceramic tools, and I'm gonna just switch back and grab one right now. But if you wanna go in with any like wooden tools like this, and just kind of smooth it down and sculpt with it that way, you can absolutely go ahead in and do that. So you're kind of just applying it onto the mask, and then sculpting it the way you want it to be. So you're not sculpting it separately, you're applying it and then you're pushing in and utilizing it that way. I'm just gonna continue up through the horns on here so that it all dries in one consistency. And I'm gonna kind of work with you guys as we make these masks so you could see all the different stages and all the different steps. So I'm just bringing that through, narrowing the bridge of it down. And I think for my mask, I'm gonna kind of make like a half human, half creature type form. This is also gonna be helpful, and you could do the eyes the same way. So you could see I'm already starting to build up a nose. You could go ahead, you could build the eyes the same way. You could actually take clay and build up a little bit more. So if I just wanted to straight up take a piece of the cellular clay and put it on here and start to compress it into my mask, and I could start to make the shape I want. I think I'm gonna do something rather circular to start out with. And then I'm gonna kind of bring it down and I'm gonna elongate it. So you guys can use this to really shape your eyes. Now we are gonna be going in and painting these, but I find that traditionally the African masks, because they are made out of wood, they would often have carvings in them or little indents made in them to kind of show an eye or something like that. So I think I'm gonna elongate that as well and try to make something kind of interesting. So you can go in with this tool and you could cut a little bit and push in with it if you maybe wanted to make like a slit in the eye going in any direction. You guys can do realistic eyes. I know some of you are doing animals, so you're probably gonna wanna go off of a picture or a replica mask of that animal and go ahead and sculpt that in. So those are 3 techniques. Once you're finished and you have everything all ready, you could go ahead. So like I said, the first one would be just taping paper down. I would recommend doing that anyway, just so that you're not using so much clay. Then you could also go in, you could dip the paper straight into the glue and sculpt up that way like I did through the horn. And lastly, you could go ahead in and use some clay to begin to define some of the features a little bit better and be able to build up nostrils and detailed eyes and all of that stuff. So this is gonna be step 3. After this, we're gonna go ahead and do more layers of paper mache, and then we will start to paint and add in all of our embellishments.